On the headlines. My name is Robert Nguru, and I'll be your host for today's show. Welcome, wherever you're watching us from, Facebook Live, the internet, we are pleased to have you. As you can see, I have a group of around 6 or 7 artists with me here today. The focus of today's show is we're gonna be commemorating George Floyd. If you don't know, George Floyd, we witnessed his death in the hands of Minneapolis Police Department. On May 25th. And we have set here, I'll start from the very far right. We have Isaac, welcome. Thank you. We have Caroline to my immediate right, welcome. We have Petros, who's usually your host, but I'm taking over duties for today's show. On the very far left, we have Karma, welcome. Right next to Karma on the right is Zamane. You can wave or do something, okay. Innocent with a Kango. And last but not least, we have Fanaka. Hey, you try to do a little, okay, I see you. I like the energy, But it's interesting times we're living in right now. I've heard a lot of people term it as a double pandemic. On top of coronavirus that's going on, we also have George Floyd, and the emotion that sparked worldwide is pretty impressive. And people are now fighting from all races. People are coming together, and they're fighting for equality across all races. And so that's the theme for today's show. A lot of these artists will be speaking on that. We'll have some people will sing, and we'll have spoken word as well. Without further ado, and maybe before we start, maybe I could direct a quick question. Since all of you are, feel free to anybody, the mic is right there. We are all artists here, be it spoken word or dance or whatever form of expression. How are we finding it? How are we adjusting to the times right now? I know this is a form of expression for us. How are we adjusting with us not being able to perform in front of crowds? What are some of the new ways we've come up with to keep up and keep on expressing our art? Fanaka, I see you turn around, so you might, yeah, you might answer that quick before we get started.
I feel like in this current time in state of our society, it's really, as artists, really having us dig deep into emotions maybe we didn't even know that we had. And I think that's also making other people who consume our music think about the state of our society more seriously, more as far as how we've been discriminated as people of color in Minnesota and beyond, just all over the U.S. And people who haven't thought a lot about the injustices done with the justice system and how communities are policed. So I feel like the music is the medicine that we really need right now.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bob Marley.
For sure.
All right. Without further ado, I'll have Karma, our very first artist, go on stage and introduce herself, and let's hear what she has to say.
Performer. I do often have a few things to say, especially during this time where there's a pandemic and, you know, Black Lives Matter is getting some attention. So today is not really about me. And before I start, I just want to go ahead and sing a very short song in my own voice, and maybe my friends can join me. It says, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm not really good with the voice, but I really believe in that song. So this is a short poem actually by Maya Angelou. If you don't know her, you have to ask yourself what rock you live under. Okay, it's called The Pledge of Our Youth. Young women, young men of color, we add our voices to the voices of your ancestors, who speak to you over ancient seas and across impossible mountaintops. Come up from the gloom of national neglect. You have already been paid for. Come out of the shadow of irrational prejudice. You owe no racial debt to history. The blood of our bodies and the prayers of our souls have bought you a future free from shame and bright beyond the telling of it. We pledge ourselves and our resources to seek for you clean and well-furnished schools, safe and non-threatening streets, employment which makes use of your talents but does not degrade your dignity. You are the best we have. You are all we have. You are what we have become. We pledge you our whole hearts from this day forward. Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmen, for that wonderful piece by Maya Angelou. I think what really stuck out to me was her call to a generation and for us to be educated, but find employment in ways that did not take away our dignity. Maybe this is a question that I would pose to the older generation in this little panel we have. So feel free to pick the mic. I'm specifically pointing out Innocent, Isaac, and Petros. What role do you feel do you feel like over the years that you've maybe lived in the United States, do you feel like the youths have now a different voice? Are they doing it at a level that it has never been done before, or is it a sad reality that we're still facing this and there's no hope even with the actions that the youth are currently taking?
So for me, I'm a baby boomer. I was born in the early 60s, so this is my fourth rodeo with regard to the riots and things of that nature. I was in Chicago when they had them in the late 60s, in Miami when they had them in 1980, in Miami when they had them in 92, and now here in Minneapolis. I find it ironic that we find ourselves repeating the same cycle again and again without necessarily seeing the change that we're calling for. I'm hoping that with the energy from the youth, that we can bring about this change. I applaud our youth. They're on the front lines doing most of the heavy lifting right now. And they're striking out on their own and making their own decisions, and I applaud that. I'm really excited to see what's going to come of it, though.
Thank you. With that being said, you're actually up next, and I'd like to hear what you have for us as far as your spoken word. Let's give it up for Isaac as he makes his way to the stage.
And in a down moment and excitement, this is the couple of poems that I'm going to read about the feeling I had when I see the video of George Floyd. So I would be both in Amharic and English. I'll be reading the English poem first. Here it goes. He may be off work to hang out or walk, to laugh or to joke at the street he loves, where he gave the laugh back and hag, blocking a breath given by God, putting in suffocation, kneeling on his neck with no mercy, a persecution in a street assembly where he was handcuffed, face down in pavement and murdered, as just as as sacrificed lamb, crying out, "Mama," in desperation. He struggled to breathe in suffocation, calling out loud to his mama to get help and let her know the trauma, knowing that can only be heard by his mama. Mama calling his mother, connecting the spirit for her to be there. She would be on his side, no matter what or where, calling to quench his thirsty, to relief of the dehydrate, struggled and desperate, begging so loud and clear to endure and give the air, endeavoring peacefully, screaming and seeking the air, and I can't breathe, while laying down beneath. That stuck to my mind. I can't breathe, Mama, እናትዬ ዋድረሽልኝ በሙዚቃ አውጫጭኝ ነፍስ ከመጫሚያው ስር ሆና ልተንፍስ በልመና. So cruel to see one smash the head to the ground. Beautiful soul is going inhumanly enslaying the man of color as white, blue, or black, not possible to bring the life back. I hurt my back, I hurt my knee, I hurt my stomach, I hurt my everything. Mama rings out to my ear where no one can hear it, or mama, stay out with the trauma. Yes, his soul has gone, killed in the land of a free and civilized, on a daylight, so unjustly and cruelly, until all breathe, no freedom for a society. Thank you.
Great piece, great piece. No freedom for society. And this is now open to the panel of artists that we have up here. What are our thoughts specifically on how I feel like Zemanai's poem was centered on a very specific point as far as the cry out for mama? And what are our thoughts on maybe how the black women are relating to this struggle? They might not be the ones who are, I do not want to diminish that there is females who also are on the receiving end of police brutality, but how do we look at the struggle of black women and how they relate to the struggles that black men go through on a day-to-day? Is my question clear?
Mother, but I can assure you that a lot of black moms, black mothers are scared for their own sons or daughters who are black, who go out on the streets and are not even certain about what's out there, what's going to face them. And a lot of them are starting to have conversations with their younger ones, their kids or their cousins or their little brothers, to tell them that this is the reality that we're facing in America. And it is heartbreaking to think that, I think I was watching something on Facebook where a father had to start talking to his 5 or 6 year old, and say, what do you do in this scenario? What do you do in that scenario? A child had to remember all of those things just so that, the father said, I feel really stressed out to think that I have to start telling my child this, on top of all of the training you have to give the child with learning how to brush your teeth and learning how to, you now have to add, or you have to be careful. You're going to face this kind of discrimination when you go out there. This is what you should do and all that. So I know that mothers relate to that. In my case, even though I don't have a child, I have a brother. And I know my brother has been a victim of racism. I have been a victim. He's been a victim. And I have friends, male friends too, who have been victims. I have a friend who has PTSD and has been unable to drive on the streets because he's black. He's got locks that are really long, and he's tall. And so to him, he is already a threat from just what he looks like. He's been racially profiled several times. And so as a result, he had to tell his wife that when they're in the city, that she would do the driving, not him, because he was scared, you know? So women, they always say the woman always has the back of the black king. And I remember, I don't know who had a live where they kind of like talked about black women also. Black women's lives matter because as much as we talk about the men, we also understand that our women are really the ones who have our back, or who have the backs of the men. Our men, our boys, our uncles, our brothers. So we all carry the burden, whether your mother or your sister or your friend to another black man, you have that burden and you carry that burden deep down.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Really nice way to break it down. From a perspective of a man, I want to say that we also are out there standing with you, with black women, and this is really a shared burden. As a community, black men, we stand with our black women. Black women, you've pointed out, you've clearly shown numerous times that you have always had our backs. And great piece by Zemenai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want you to hear my Amharic poem as well.
Okay.
It is not a direct translation, but it's pretty much the same. Here it goes. At the same time, I want you to learn Amharic. ይቺ ታላቅ ዓለም መዳፈ ሰፊዋ ሸክፋ ታቅፍም ያድጣል ገላዋ ታዳላለች ዓለም እኩል ፍርድ አትሰጥም ልጆቿን አንድ አርጋ አታስተናግድም ዓለም ታበያለች ስትሆን ለአንዱ ደፋር ሆና ትታያለች ለሌላው አይናፋር ይቁጠረው ጎዳናው ይዘርግፍ ዶሴውን ፀሐይ ወጥታ እስክትጠልቅ የሚወገረውን ገላው ተሸልቶ የሚበለተውን ከደጃፉ ሳይርቅ የምታልፍ ህይወቱ ያልተነገረለት ታስሮ አንደበቱ አንገቱ የዞረ እጁ የተሰበረ ግንባሩን የደፋ ልቡ የተሰበረ ጎዳናው ይቁጠረው ገና በጨቅላነት ፊደል ሊቆጥር ወጥቶ ልዩነትን ሳያውቅ ካንድ ወንበር ተቀምጦ ብሉ አይን ብላክ አይን ያንተ ነው የተሻለ ጎበዙ ተማሪ ብሉ እየተባለ በርታ ጎበዝ ግፋ ተብሎ የጀገነ ከደሙ አይጠፋም ዘሩ እንዳገነነ ካንዱ ያጋድላል ከሱ ያመዘነ እናማ ወዳጄ ከዛ ነው የሚጀምር ይበሽታ ቀጥንት ከቀድሞ ከውስጡ ያለ ነው የማይወዳደር እኩያ አልባ ነው ለንስሐ ማይበቃ የኃጢአት ጥግ ነው የእግዚአብሔር አየር ነፍጎ በሰባ ጉልበቱ የፊጥኝ ጠፍንጎ በጎዳና ሸንጎ የትኛው ስልጣና የትኛው ትምርቱ ህሊናና ልቡን ደፍነው ያሸፈቱ ከግር የወደቀን እግሩ የታሰረን ክንዱ የኋልዮሽ የተቆለፈውን እጅግሩን አመመኝ ሆዴን ብሎ ያለ ተጠማሁ ጠብታ ውሃ ለጉሮሮ እንደምን አስቻለው አይኑስ ተከለለ እጁን ኪሱ ከቶ እንደ ይሸለለ ለመኖር ሲማጸን አንደበቱ ታስሮ ሊሰዋ እንደታጨ ልክ እንደ አብርሃም በግ ፊቱ ተገልብጦ በደም ተለውሶ እናቴን እያለ ድምጿን በመፈለግ በስልጡኑ መሬት ነፃነን በሚሉት በዋለበት ሜዳ ነፍሲቱን ነጠቋት ነፃ ከምን ይሆን ከመውጣት ከመግባት በጠራራ ያየን ፍትህ አልባ ህይወት እጅ የገባን ታዛዥ አካሉን አዝሎ ከገነት የላካት ጉሮሮ ጠምሎ እንዴትስ ይተኛል ይሰው ፍጡር ገሎ ፍትህ ብሎ የሚታይ የጥላቻ ጥጉ በገሃድ የወጣ ምንም ቢሸሽጉ በብራው በጧቱ ህይወቱን መቅጨቱ የምድራዊው ብይን አይከፍል ለጥቃቱ ህመሙ ጽኑ ነው ቁስሉ እጅግ ያማል ዘረኝነት ሊርቅ ክትባት ያሻናል በቆዳ ልዩነት ሰው እንዴት ይነግሳል ዓለም ተቀይራ ልጆቿን ባንድነት ልታቀፍ ይገባል Thank you.
Thank you. That I did not understand, but that sounded from the heart. You expressed it very well. Can you, in a nutshell, maybe, what's the theme of that spoken word?
Yeah, so it's pretty much the feeling of what I see in the video, the action of the scene, while he's asking that I'm hurting,
Yes.
I can't breathe, and how insane it is someone can make that kind of murder while you're asking that I can't breathe or I'm thirsty, you know. So that is the emotion that still we need justice for peace.
For sure.
That's
for sure.
the question.
I mean, just to cap that off, and pointing back to a case from 2014, I think Eric Garner was killed in 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong, but went out saying the same words, you know, under the same system being the police. So hopefully that whatever this sparked, watching somebody kneeling on somebody's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, very brutal way to go out. Hopefully that this is actually the turning point and we do not let this go in vain. It's a lot that goes into this. Whole round, the system has to, legislation, we as a people, black, white people, we all have a role to play in this. And thank you so much again for the piece. All right, with that. All right, really great piece, Amharic piece from Zemini, and now on stage we have Caroline, and as she was breaking down the piece that she's about to perform right now, No Be Me, Abina You, I believe is Pidgin English, yes, from Nigeria.
Pidgin English, yes.
And it basically, this piece that she's about to perform is a conversation between God and his creation, saying that although you might not see me, I am present in the things around you in nature. Take it away, Caroline.
All right. Yeah. And I just want to dedicate the song specifically. I mean, I know that when we talk about God's creation, God is awesome in a way that he sees beauty in diversity, right? He made white, he made black, he made the Asian, he made everyone, all kinds of colors. And just as we, as his creation, we appreciate colors, we get that from him too. But today, specifically for the purpose of why we're here, I want to reemphasize the beauty of the black person too, knowing that you're created in his image, and regardless of the negativity and, you know, all the bias and the racism and just the world that we live in that's been, that has stood against people that look like me and you and look like George. It's just, this song is more of a reassurance that you're beautiful in his image, you are special, and that God loves you and he loves every one of us. So I hope you guys stay strong through everything. Not once and not twice have I proven my love to you. Just like a bright price, I paid it all for you. Went through hell and back, just to keep you on track. Made a way, cleared the path, delivered, saved you from wrath. You were that special to me, my number one nominee, oh, chosen for grace and mercy. There is no controversy, everybody say no to me. I be not you, where they keep you up, where they lift you up, say no be me. I be not you, where get your back through the good and the bad, no be me. I be not you, where stand by your side for the long ride. When all hope was against you, when it looked like friends will turn to, I came and saved the day, never did I back away. Love don't come easy, but this life is not hazy. And like the clear blue sky, You're the apple of my eye, and you are that special to me. My number one nominee, all chosen for grace and mercy. There is no controversy, everybody say no to me. Happy are you, way to keep you up, way to lift you up, say no to me. Happy are you, way catch your back to the good and the bad, no to me. Happy are you, way stand by your side for the long ride, yeah. So now you say, this love, now I got. This love, now I got. This love, now I pay. Say this love, now I got. 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 I never see this kind of before. I never see this kind of before. Loving me, I mean I do. Where they give you love, where they lift you up, loving me, I mean I do. They catch your back to the good and the bad, loving me, I mean I do. They stand by your side for the long ride, yeah, yeah. Everybody say this love, now I got this love. Let me hear you say this love, now I got this love. Let me hear you say, let me hear you say, this love, 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 now I got. Thank you.
Such a soothing voice. I mean, that kind of voice is, I don't know, what do they say, Pied Piper type voice? Like, I just love how sweet and soothing that was.
Thank you.
Globally, because they understand what discrimination is all about, be it black, Asian, brown, any kind of people. So that's why it got that attention. It's a cumulative experience throughout the black history. Call it slavery, colonialism, and whatever name that you want to give it to. But again, back to my confession. I've known Innocent for many years. In fact, I was when I do the African Night way back in Montanitas, then later they called it Blue Nile, I guess. We started it, and I invited him so many times. He performed. So I declare myself to be a Pan-Africanist, and Pan-Africanism has many phases. People express themselves through poems and all kinds of stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll get into the thing. Usually, I go to spoken word programs just like I did for Isaac and many, but I enjoy listening to people. I enjoy that artistic expression. But one time, about 2-3 years ago, I started writing. Actually, I ended up having a booklet. I gave it to you. So this is dedicated to George and many others. George is a symbolic character that everybody can relate to. I'm sorry. Okay, this one is called At That Moment of Silence, I Drift. It must have been thoughts from the day intrusively appear to revisit in my subconscious mind. While contemplating the meaning, a sudden surge of awakening that a crime has a strange connection to the conscience of the innocent. Not sure what to make of it, devil incognito or angel of days, eerie feelings and emptiness turn back time to veiled madness. When declared war and hostility submerges, trapped in the mindset of vengeance, compassion and care thinks of the past, suffer in silence as we all fall apart. One by one, things seems to fade, vision and hopes deferred, once detested began to flare when nation stripped its honor. We refuse to see, choose not to hear, unable to foresee the impending danger, shattered by silence, strengthened by fear, bitter revenge, the essence of his character. When might failed to bring order and the resistance can't deliver, passion and vigor lost its course to a crisis and frozen conflicts. When you think all is well, thoughtless conditions rise again. When you know the motivations, they retaliate and justify their actions. Tragedies that awoke the dormant, wise men neglected to point it out. Simple truths twisted and stretched, enlightened advice deliberately ignored. The malaise, the cause, and the intentions to an absurd and desperate assertions, voyages and dreams of helpless victims, movement with self-serving notions. As the aloof laid, loyalists pretend, knowing at the end there will be ahead. Sham unity preferred and endorsed, urgent action dragged and prolonged. At that moment of silence, I drift, as image lasts forever with deep scarred memories. I shout, I scream, yearn for soundless change. All remains the same, blurry and clouded illusions, moments imprinted for life as a genetic curse. At that moment of silence, I drift, briefly visit thousands in 100 jails, dignity stripped in the dungeons, years past, hopeless and helpless, cowardice crowned when courage suffers. At that moment of silence, I drift. At that desperate and suffocating moment, suddenly you envision mothers caring comfort, siblings, friends, and unexpressed love. Others cry and shout, the only comfort around. Children of this nation, reverse the train. Friends and foe, tear down the invisible fence. From the never-ending slavery, hoping to be free, dodging bullets and mine, risking death to flee. At that moment of silence, I drift. Thank you.
Great, great, great. I mean, you might say that you don't do it, you're not a poet, but that has to be arguably one of the best pieces I've heard tonight. So let's give it up for Petros one more time. I think the way you introduced your piece is something really stuck out to me when you say this was a call from the people, specifically black people, and it resonated with people from all different colors. Maybe a question that I'd like to pose to the panel that we have here right now. What do we feel, how do we feel about the current actions that are being taken by maybe even corporations, for example, going as far as rebranding? For instance, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's Rice. Do we feel that these are actions that are enough, or we're really losing focus on the real issue at hand?
I think that's a really good question. I think that something is better than nothing. And I think that when people, you have to follow the money, right? When people start to lose money, they start to pay attention. So, with everything happening, for example, Coca-Cola, I heard, is holding off advertising, which has cost Facebook a lot of money. And some other communities that might not be like a black community, they're getting affected. Black Tuesday is a day where, a lot of people around the globe, they don't spend $1 on, well, it just happened like 3 weeks ago, but some people are still doing it every Tuesday. And, people are noticing. So, for example, someone might own a business and they're not paying attention to Black Lives Matter or what's happening because it's not affecting them. It's not affecting the community. But on Tuesday, when they get $0, then they say, what's going on? And maybe they can turn on the news and pay attention. Having said that, I think the most important thing has to do with legislation. They have to make changes on that level. I'm all about defunding the police, something like that. Because I think about it, I'm Nigerian, right? And I migrated from here. I have a type of African privilege, which is throughout my teenage years, I never really feared the police. That didn't cross my mind. I didn't have that conversation with my parents. When you say the police, you have to whatever. I did fear my parents, though, because I would get a whooping if I do anything bad. My parents were the police, you know. So, I mean, now Nigeria is, you know, we have our own issues. We have corrupt police officers and things like that. If bad things will happen. But we don't fear them because of the color of our skin. So that is like something that I learned coming to America. Nobody taught me, nobody sat me down and said, this is what it is. I saw it for myself very quickly. So when I say, like, I think people can't wrap their head around the idea of defund the police, but that's really all I mean, because growing up, we've done weird things growing up as teenagers in Africa. If you grew up there, you know, maybe you went to a boarding school or whatever, we would do silly things. We climb fences, we go out and have a drink when we're not supposed to. If somebody sees you, they say, get out of here, go home. Before you get home, somebody has told your mom, when you get back, you're getting a whooping. That's it. We don't fear getting caught by the police, thrown in jail, maybe killed, you know? So I'm all about defunding the police because we just don't need them like that. You know, it's not that deep. $20 cost George his life. You know, what's that? So, I mean, I probably have said too much, but that's pretty much where I'm going. You know, like, all noise is good right now, but the noise that's going to be the loudest is where the money is, you know? Take that money away, and then they will feel it.
Really, really great response to the question. Just to reiterate what she said, any kind of attention that we can be, any kind of illumination or to our message, the Black people message right now, is really important. All right, with that being said, we will have our last act, Innocent, if you make your way up to the stage. All right. Thank you so much, Isaac, for that beautiful piece. Next up on stage, we'll be having Fanaka, young and energetic. Make your way up on stage. Let's see what he has for us.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Fanaka. I go by Fanaka Nation. Naitwa Fanaka Nation, that's Swahili for what I just said. My name is Fanaka Nation. Shout out Tempo Africa TV for having me. I just want to say, RIP George Floyd in Minneapolis, stay strong, Black Lives Matter. This first song that I'm doing is called When I'm OG, all right? And we're going to take you back to the motherland for this one. So let's hit it. Hey, Fanaka Nation. Shout out Tempo Africa TV. Let's get it. Afro, trap, elevate, levitate. When I'm OG, come hella great. Elevate, levitate. When I'm OG, come hella great. Wah, 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 wah. Look, I run the stories in my cranium. Looking for a knock like my brain again. I'm a bed 100, I'm a bed 1,000. Before my brain's rust, stuck on $1 million now. Cause my people die just to the right first now. My people crying cause it's different how. My OG, he told me when I was 30, like son, please. Hey. Vuja, Nifupa, Vuja, Nifupa, Vuja, Nifupa. Hey. Vuja, Nifupa, Vuja, Nifupa. Hey, elevate, levitate. When I'm OG, coming hella great. Elevate, levitate. When I'm OG, coming hella great. Wah, 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 wah. Hey, let me blow all of my friends now. Let me get on the now, but keep y'all on speed down. Holy rock there, take the lead now. Cause I'm back with the boom bastic, fantastic. If I need a game with a beat dramatic. All up on that playlist, start the habit. Can you see like my name be rabbit? Okay, let me skip this squad. Talk to the guys that big mark. Hey, now you're the all-star. Energy don't smash mouth. Got my hands up in the air like an waving. I guess you my future by this air. I am also waving. Elevate. Meditate, when I'm OG, coming hella great. Elevate, meditate, when I'm OG, coming hella great. Rah, 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 rah. Ninja, nifupa, ninja, nifupa, ninja, nifupa. Ninja, nifupa, ninja, nifupa. Yeah, if I was a rat, I would be in a trap. Chicharron, like a bee in a trap. I feel trapping them, then I'm lapping them like a kid, and I don't feel big. Hey, yeah. Shout out Temporary TV, much love for the people. Hey, hey. People got me up on that one. That's where.
I personally really like that one because of the wah 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 wah. That's a really Kenyan expression to say for the culture. I like it. Whose track is that you sample? Is that Samba Mpangala?
Yeah, Samba Mpangala. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's a great East African culture. It's in the music video. Okay, so I mean, if you. For all those who are watching, I'd advise go watch the original Samba Mpangala, and then, as Fanaka say, check them out on YouTube. Fanaka Nation on YouTube, check out this video. Alright, so as he makes his way on to his next, that's great. So how do you find navigating both cultures? And definitely, I'm not sure if you have maybe songs from the Laos culture, but what do you find inspiration in mostly?
Well,
is it just from both cultures, or?
First and foremost, I like how I can never get like made fun of because they can't tell what my race is. So like it's an advantage. I think that's inspiring. I dodged a lot of bullets in high school, but I just love the cultural richness, and I love digging deep as far as sounds and culture and message from both sides because it just paints a really beautiful picture, and I've just been grateful to do that. That's why my sound is called culture rap. Okay. Yeah, like what you just heard, When I'm OG, that's literally world music and hip-hop combined, so you put that in a blender, that's culture rap. Yeah.
Great music, great place.
Thank you, appreciate it, brother. Is burning.
Soda is burning.
Yeah, SOTA, Soda is burning. This is a shout out to the young energy that's really on the front lines fighting for us and really getting the message out there on a worldwide basis. It's really inspiring, and it's really based off that. Yeah, so Soda is burning.
I can't wait to hear it, bro. Mm-hmm. Take it away.
In the fire, how come they never fix the leak until it's time to spew? This color don't wash off, but barriers do. Why do they see your lives if you succeed after bloody history? The when a brother get shot, you act like the shit's a mystery. That could have been me, could have been my brother. You heard it, I can't breathe, but you let life suffer. Tell me this ain't don't exist, we worked it out already. I guess ignorance is bliss until your black cousin is dead, G. Now that it came from out of town, then it go shit straight to the ground, then it go blame it on the ones marching freely through dark clouds. We've been staying I can breathe for centuries. I just hope the world finally starts hearing me. Deeply rooted when it beat us when we fighting for peace. Deeply rooted when 12 don't think some pose at their peace. Deeply rooted when they fight for peace and made a move, now I can breathe. Soda is burning, my people bleed. 612, we can breathe. Soda is burning. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. In the fire,
Great piece by Fanaka. I feel what I find very interesting on that, and it's a huge point of contention, even in conversations that I have with people during these times, is an injustice happened, and people feared that it was gonna go unnoticed. Unfortunately, it resulted in violence. And so this is a very great picture you paint as far as why do we have to, what did you say, why do we have to let it get to that before, what was the first bar on that one? Why?
Oh, yeah. How come we never fix the leak until it's time to spew? Yeah.
So, I mean, this is what we're trying to portray in this platform. Let's fix things before they get to a point where people have to feel like, okay, we're not gonna let this go. We have to get out and hurt the bottom line being the economy. We gotta burn stuff down for us to get hurt. So big shout out to you for like really portraying that message well. It's a lot that the system could have done to make our voices heard. Really unfortunate that he had to get that to that point.
Yeah, for sure. Much love, brother.
Big shout out to Comer too.
Big shout out to Comer. Afro Contigo.
Afro Contigo. Great stuff. Up on stage coming next, we're gonna have Zemini. Zemini, you ready? Okay. You can make your way up to, since the mic is right here, I believe you can sit right there and present. Yeah.
My name is Isaac Washington. I'm a spoken word artist in the Twin Cities. I've been performing for about 7 years. I go by the name of Word Play for You to Hear. I also create my own music. I'm going to do an original piece for you. The piece is called I Am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Independent in thought, yet will respect your view. Spirit contained in this body, metamorphosizing into something new. Thirsting for knowledge of the universe and all that it holds true. Energy spread throughout infinity and beyond, better known as a Ubu. In this place and time, but I've been here before. My vessel carries a genome that predates antiquity's splendor. I breathe the air created before the dinosaurs. I walk on land created heretofore. My mind grapples with topics from the number theory of Fibonacci to ancient and present day religion and the symbols that I'm assigned. Often researching groups with dark histories like the Illuminati and secrets held in the meta-spheres divinity by master alchemists like Fukunaga. Overstanding the sense of creating into God when I go, drifting in the universe with the stars, natural flow. Questioning can we say, as above, so below. I can synthesize information from history so that it's able to grow. I no more need to be in a trance, being tuned with the vibrations of life. Then you need to be able to dance at the base of a sadistic vow, right? I am consciousness of the pleasure by the vibrations of the Most High. In the form of liquidity, there with ability right to focus with clarity from the third eye. Liquidity to remind you that you need not run to find before. I am absorbed through the mind, spirit, and soul for you to be free. The eyes that help the blind to see. The sweet honey that's made from the hive of the moon. And the solar rays of your sound produce an image that reflects off your moon at night. And the perceiving spirit you can oppose each other over your souls and fight. And the positive, negative, and neutral dominant atom emission type. And the universe manifesting in his body from vibration, spirit, up to light. But mostly, I am you and you are me. Come every spectrum of life with the yin and yang balance harmonically. Never separating from the realm of 6 degrees of connectivity as we work to raise the conscious level of all to be all that they can be. I am that I am. I am that I am. Thank you.
Very good in talking. I don't write poems like you guys. I just write songs. I was taught to say so many things in just so little space. So yeah, this one I call it Look It Up. Thank you.
Very touching. I wonder if you wrote that song in response to this specifically, or you were just so far ahead of time, so to speak.
I wrote it a while ago, before this. But then again, we got to remember that before George Floyd, there have been so many.
Yeah.
So many of us.
Yeah.
So when I wrote this song, I'm pretty sure it was
relevant.
Another one.
Yeah.
And
okay.
To be real honest with you, it's a shame, but this is not the end.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is a new day. We might hear another name, another number, statistic. We keep suffering like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanna draw all of our attention to specifically what stuck out to me in that song was our history as Black people, and what's currently going on in the nation right now, and all of the nation, is people bringing down statues because they're symbols of hate, right? How important do we feel it is that history is rewritten from, Black people do not end at slavery. Like, we have much more than slavery in our history. How important do you think it is when kids growing up right now, they can look 8 years, there's kids who grew up all of their lives knowing Obama is president, that's a Black person, you know what I mean? How important do we think these rewriting of history and such symbols like Obama in such a great position, how important is that to us as a Black people?
Well, that got so many responses, but go back to these statues. I choose to call them statues of hate. Mind you, they did not come up right after when the Confederacy was defeated. These things came way after that, which means that even though the South was defeated, but them being traitors and stuff, they still went ahead and create these monuments, which we have learned to live with them all our lives, just to allow them to be there when we were free already, when we wanted this place to be, you know, what it's supposed to be for everybody, regardless of nation, color, or none like that. So now my question would be, why are people getting surprised when we want these things to be demolished? It's just like calling a team of football or a team of baseball red head or red Indian or Indian head. That to me is offensive, period. Like you were talking about Mama Jamina or the other, all these slavery mentality junk that they were put in products. It's about time. Why were they there to begin with? You know, it's almost no discussion. It's like when the Native Americans say, guys, don't pass your freeway here. Our ancestors have been buried up there. They will go up there, chain themselves to the trees, but guess what? They will just bulldoze them. The pipeline out of Standing Rock. So to me, we got a long way to go. And a lot of us, we've been marching like Isaac was saying, coming from that time. I've been marching since the killings in South Africa, Soweto, Sharpeville. I ain't got no legs no more to be marching, but I got my blood. My kids, they're always out there marching and doing all this stuff, and I give up to them. These young cats, they're not stopping. This thing has to be stopped, period. We're going to do it musically, you know, but the young cats, they're doing it their own way, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, Floyd is not the last one. Yeah. It's not the last one.
Yeah. At this point, great piece by Innocent again, reminding us how important it is that how important our history as a Black people is, and it was taken away from us. I'd like to now, for the next maybe, so that we could get out of here in a timely fashion, I'll keep track of time, and maybe if anybody on the panel has any questions directed at anybody, we could discuss before we close it all up. Great energy we've had here today. I feel like if there's any unanswered questions, or if there's anything that needs to be addressed further than this would be a great opportunity. If not, then we'll wrap it up.
One question I have, have you guys registered to vote yet? That's crucial. Yes. Yet we got people in high places right now who are supporting things that they shouldn't be supported. And we see that on a daily basis. So register.
For sure.
Vote.
Yeah. Reiterating what Corma had said earlier, it boils down to legislation. You know what I mean? Are there any changes that are being put in place by the current government that ensure that people, that the system is just regardless of skin, gender, and all these other things that we hold, all these standards we hold ourselves up to in society? So, yep, viewers, this is where we get a chance to, for lack of a better word, bully the politicians into doing what we want them to do. So register to vote, go out there, put in people who you feel are representatives of your ideas.
But more importantly, hold them accountable. Don't just vote on them. Hold them accountable. Because this game that's being played has been played over and over and over and over again. So now is the time that everybody's awake. The blessing was that the virus was here and everyone was home to see what happened. So now we've got the world's attention. But now it's important to hold these politicians accountable. Don't just vote them and forget about them. Pay attention to what they're doing. Make sure that they're doing what they said they're going to do for you. And if they don't do what they say they're going to do, get them out and get the ones that will represent you in.
Yep.
Thank you. Petrus?
I think what I wanted to say is usually people, just like you said, incidents happen every now and then. Then a few weeks later, a few days later, it will be forgotten. And I think what we can do is, this is an action request. So what we can do is, just like the guy from Uganda, the musician, what's his name, was able to...
Local?
No, yeah, in Uganda. Bobby Wine, yeah.
Oh.
You've seen the change he makes as one artist. And this is what we can do. You know, this gathering, as it is so significant, so significant. So all we need is capitalize on this one. We can call it Artists for Justice. So we can demand, you know, not only one discrimination, but the overall system to be changed. So I just want to remind everybody, you know, let's not take it for granted. This is so important. If we can develop one album, one CD, the entire song, we may be able, you know, one individual's. I told you she's on purpose right there. So I just want to summarize it by saying, yeah, Artists for Justice, spoken word, musicians, and storytellers, they all can line up and sustain it for 6 months to a year. That's how change comes. That flicker needs to change to a flame. But if we just flicker and just goes away, that's how they win. All right, thanks.
I have less than a minute. If anybody else wants to say something, this will be the last person to speak on this matter.
I just wanted to add in that platforms like this, Tempo Afrique TV, is the actions that we need to be taking, especially in being such a social media age. These are one of the many ways that we can initiate change in the justice system, and especially get more young people involved with platforms like this. So I'm grateful to be here alongside such great talent, and we're just a beautiful time here to express my views musically and poetically. So platforms like this, I definitely encourage that this happen more often, and that we can share platforms like this that initiate change. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
One question to the Africans who are not American, who are not in America, the Africans who are in Africa, what can they do to support the movement that is going on here to their brothers and sisters?
I'd say, immediately you say that, I thought of what was termed as the year of return in Ghana, and what Ghana is doing for Africans who are not within Africa, as far as creating systems within the government for them to even purchase land back in Africa, reconnect back with their roots. So that's one step in the direction that we're going. I don't know if anybody else can think of what Africans can do for the African American.
Well, even while this whole thing happened with George Floyd, we know that places in Africa, Nigeria, there was like protests that went on in South Africa and a few other places Nairobi. Too. So, yes, Nairobi too, right? Yes. So, and I feel like this is the first time that an incident like this that has happened in America has, extended itself across the shores to the African countries, not just Africa, I mean everywhere, Australia, in the UK, in Asia, yes. So, but since you mentioned Africa specifically, we're labeling or pointing out the things that can be done. The one that's been done in Ghana is great, and I think that maybe other African nations too should create that kind of platform where people can come back home and visit and, reconnect with their history, yes. And yeah, I don't know do you guys have any other thoughts on things that can
just on that, sorry to cut, on that same level, Ethiopia had given a land, you would know that, in Sheshamani, for the Rastas or for the people of Caribbean to go back there. There's so many of them. There's a land out there, people just go walk in. I say that should be extended, not only Ghana and not only Ethiopia. This should be everywhere. I know a bunch of people who are living in Tanzania. They moved from Jamaica and they are not going back. Some of them are just like they don't change names and all that stuff. They're living there. I think African countries can do more now. First, we have to deal with our leaders out there and then make the place comfortable for people to be able to walk in. No visas for people who are taken out there in chains and shackles. Just invite them home. Let the people come back home, period. Besides, all the educations that my brothers and sisters got out here, they bring it down there. We're going to be the next superpower, United States of Africa. But we're just holding ourselves back. All we need is Oprah. We need Oprah, Jay-Z, Michael Jordan, the movie brother, what's his name? Madea, Tyler Perry. Obama can come up there too. United States of Africa.
Steve Harvey even just started his show now in South Africa. So it's called, what's that show again? The game show, Steve Harvey's game show. Family Feud. Family Feud Africa. Family Feud?
Oh!
Yes, so now they shoot in Africa as well. Yeah. No, they started already. They have episodes on YouTube that I was watching.
I watch
yes.
it every day. It's on YouTube in South Africa and in Ghana. Okay. It's funnier than the game itself. I'm sure.
All right, all right. In the interest of time and getting us home in a timely fashion, again, if you don't know what we're talking about here, this specific Behind the Headlines show has been specifically to commemorate the life of George Floyd, and it's been evident in every piece that I've seen you guys perform. So big shout out to everybody for coming out and willing to showcase their art. And with that, we hope to see you next week for another episode of Behind the Headlines. I've been your host, Robanguru. See you next time.
Thank you.
Hi, it's me again, Korma Agustakmaya. I'm here today to tell you more about Tempo Africa and how you can contribute. As you know, Tempo Africa is a station that services people of African descent and people in America, people in Africa. It's all over the globe. And for us to do that, we are always accepting donations. To donate, you can go to the website at tempoafrictv.com, and then you click on the home page and then click on PayPal donation, and you can make your donation there. You could also call in and make a donation. The number is 612-804-0295. I cannot tell you how grateful we are for your donation. Please take the time and check out the website and feel free to donate to this wonderful service that Tempo Afrique continues to offer us abroad and at home. All this information is on the website. Just go to tempoafrictv.com and you will get more information. Thank you very much.
Mama sa, mama sa.